Hey guys. A few weeks ago, I was backpacking in the snow in the high Sierras with some friends from work. Each evening, as we made camp in the fading light, we took turns to read passages from a John Muir book that someone had brought with him because we're massive cliches, I think. And I was reminded of my favorite quote of his, which you can't see on that screen actually. When we try and pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched together to everything else in the universe. Similarly, Goethe wrote that in nature we never see anything isolated, but everything in connection with something else which is before it, beside it, under it, or over it. Universal interconnectedness isn't unique to people writing about trees. It's what Carl Sagan was talking about when he said that we're made of star stuff, and it's a central tenet of most Buddhist traditions. Everyone, everything is intrinsically linked. Every atom in the universe pulls and pushes on all of the others. Now, I'm not here to talk to you today about Buddhism. That's the conference next weekend or something. But let's keep this concept of interconnectedness in mind as we talk about design systems. So why not? Today, I'm going to be talking about some work that we've been doing at Airbnb, pulling the lessons that we've learned from React and functional programming back into the design process to make tooling a little bit more sane. I want to preface these ideas by saying that I work at a huge company. Before this, I'd only ever worked at companies that were like 10 people big. So some of these issues might be pretty alien to you. If they are, I kind of empathize, and these solutions are created for big companies, so that's my caveat. So we're a big company. We have a great design system, which we call DLS, which you can kind of see on the screen right there. It's a collection of colors and typography styles and components that we use to create the majority of our app. Not everything, and it's not a complete system, but the idea is that we have a system to speed up our design and development processes. It's great, but it's not without issues. We often hear the same questions in Slack every day. What's the hex code for that color? Or see these slides. Or what does this component currently look like? Or does this row component take a configurable icon? It's really a case of a source of truth thing. So we ask ourselves questions like, where does the design system live? Where's the definition of it? You can go looking for it in our various repos, and you might look in our design documentation, or in our in our sketch templates that we create and distribute to our designers. Or you might go looking in code. We have React, React Native, iOS, Android, tvOS, a bunch of platforms. And then also all of the brains in the office. Everyone seems to have different ideas about these things. So a big part of my job is trying to rein this all in, trying to create more confidence in the system, so people embrace it more. To do this, it's pretty easy to rein in different code platforms. It's relatively easy to tie together, JavaScript and Swift. You just write some crazy JavaScript that writes Swift for you. It's pretty cool. We have lots and lots of different places that we want to keep in sync. Oops, that built too quickly. So we want to build sketch templates, documentation, React, React Native, iOS, Android, et cetera, from one kind of versioned, semantically versioned, transparent source of truth. So doing this technically in our applications, it's a solvable problem. Doing it for our sketch templates, this is what they look like. There's a lot of components. It's a big design system. Keeping this in sync it's just an unwinnable problem. You can throw more designers at it, but then you just have a bunch of designers fighting this battle that's always going to lose against, against the amount of touch points you have in a design system. The other thing with automation, I think about it kind of in terms of when you plot algorithmic complexity and you see linear time versus quadratic time, it's not quite as bad as that, but I think of if you wanted to change one color value, how many humans would have to go and change something, whether that's a CSS file or a JavaScript file or a Swift file or a million places in a template. So I'm really just trying to reduce the complexity of updating our system. So for this talk, we want to solve Sketch. We want to figure out how we can make Sketch a kind of a functional API that we can reliably call, idempotently with no side effects, all the buzzwords. So our first thought was, well, can we script Sketch? Yes, we can. If you've ever tried to write a Sketch plugin, you're familiar with the development environment, which is interesting, I think is the word. It's CocoaScript, which basically means you're writing Cocoa in JavaScript with none of the builds, with none of the development environments of either of them. I'm a functional programming cultist. I'm just going to hold my hand up and say that. And so I wasn't going to work on that project. There was just no way that was going to happen. But I got thinking, maybe there's a concept that we can reuse. Maybe there's an existing movement in the technology industry for what you do when you have a bunch of crazy imperative APIs and you want to wrap them up in a nice declarative way of thinking. It's called React. You guys use it, I think. So we wrote a React renderer for Sketch. The idea was that we could kind of declaratively say what we wanted our Sketch templates to look like and then just render them on CI or something. The first pass, wow, you really can't see any of this. The first pass of the API I think it took a few weeks to build, but it was pretty cool. The API looked a lot like you'd expect from a drawing tool, so it was like React Art or Canvas or SVG or something that has rectangles and ovals and lines and that kind of thing. And it kind of worked and it was kind of cool, but we realized that we were writing code to draw things that already existed in code. It wasn't a great. It was really cool for doing algorithmic art and that kind of thing. Whatever you're doing processing, but it kind of sucked for maintaining large-scale design systems. So then we were thinking, maybe there's other parts of the React community that we can kind of dig into and see what they're doing here. The answer came from, that's a 80s VR GIF that you can't see, sorry. The answer came from concepts like React Native, React Web, React VR. All of these emergent React platforms seem to be stabilizing around the same API, image, text, view, maybe a few other things. But it really feels like the React Native way of doing things is going to be the emergent form of React Component API, or primitive React Component API going forward. There's also a cool library that one of my coworkers wrote called React Primitives that is basically an adapter on top of all of these. So you import it once and then it can render to any platform. So you just write the same components that render everywhere. It's pretty cool. So we refactored it and it looks more like this. It uses the language of design systems, which are views and text and image. And it's pretty cool. It works. I'm just gonna live demo. This is my first ever live demo, so praying emojis. Okay, so we have not that one, this one. It's going to be a little bit difficult on such a small screen because there's a bunch of stuff to fit in, but we'll make it work, I think. Okay, so I've got Sketch. This is Sketch. I guess some people might be back-end developers that haven't used Sketch. Sketch is it's a drawing tool. You can do rectangles and shit with it. Designers love it. I know. I'm a designer, but I don't like Sketch. Okay, so this is pretty much the code that I was showing on that last slide. Can anyone see that? Okay, cool. You'll notice that it's super similar to a generic React platform. So we have a main export of our app, and we call render with the same signature as we'd have in a React DOM app. So render takes a tree and a target. In this case, we don't have a DOM, so we're using the Sketch document. The styling is the same as you'd expect in React Native. Everything is almost exactly as React Native does it. So you have flexbox, flex directions, all that stuff. You can keep variables in JavaScript or use JSS. We'll get to that stuff. We'll get to that fun stuff. I'm just going to call render, and we can just like see what it does. So there's like a one-click kind of create React app style thing, and it renders to sketch. It's pretty cool. Let's try changing something. Maybe making it a bit bigger as well. Okay, so let's say we wanted to make this box on the left bigger. I don't know. And it makes it bigger. This is like the simplest possible example I could put on. Let's do something a bit more practical. So the initial task that we created it for was maintaining these kind of style guide templates at work. So here I have an example of a like design system, design tokens kind of repo. I have a bunch of colors. I have some type sizes. I have some compositions of the above into like some typography styles. And similarly, I'm just going to run render on this, and we'll see what happens. Cool. So I'm basically like looping over the variables, and I have like a type specimen component, and I have a swatch component. This is stuff that is like should be pretty familiar to React developers in the house. This is a swatch. It takes like a color and a name, and it generates some cool stuff. But the idea is like composing sketch documents in the same manner as we'd compose React applications. Like this is like pretty cool, right? I don't know, let me just change these colors. So I'm going to change the colors, and we'll see it live reload on the right. Or I'm going to make the font like huge so you can see it. And I'm going to make it like change the font. It's pretty cool. There's a few like little bugs in it that I'm not happy with. Like Sketch always takes focus of your window, which is kind of annoying when you're developing quickly. But we'll fix those things. Cool. So I think it's back to my presentation. Luckily, we didn't see any errors in that, which I'm pretty thankful for. But we built Redbox in Sketch. So if you have any errors, it just like shows your Redbox as editable sketch layers. I don't know why we did that, but whatever. Hopefully you don't see that though. There was actually a bug in our Redbox component yesterday that I had to fix. It was a bug in our bug. It was pretty meta. Okay, but so design tools. I don't know if anyone identifies as a designer. I kind of identify as a designer. If anyone uses design tools regularly. Design tools have been like the same thing with like a few little bits of icing on for the past 30 years. Like this is like pretty much what our design tools still are today. Yeah, it's crazy. So we generated like all these sketch templates, and then we were like, but we want something smarter. We still want like design tools that work with like compositional design systems. Like, is that too much to ask? I mean, it's too much to ask some people, but we tried to fix it. I'm going to show you some like fun demos of other things we've been doing once you can just like control Sketch like you would control your browser or React Native if you're a JavaScript developer. The question that I'm going to lead with that everyone always asks me is, if you're building these cool design tools in Sketch, why don't you just do like a React Native IDE or something? That's like a really good question. I still don't know the answer to it. I guess we have like 100 designers who use Sketch. We're not likely to move them off it anytime soon. Okay, I think it's just demos from here on out. So let's flip it back to Sketch. We'll clear the canvas. And let's say we're designing something like, Twitter, and we have like a profile card, and our designers want to check what it will look like with real data. It's really, really hard to use real data in Sketch right now. Even if you use a plugin that kind of does it, it doesn't really use Flexbox. We use Flexbox. Also, like the current plugins just don't do a real good job of hooking up to like real APIs the way you'd actually use them. So I'm going to render some profile cards here. And again, these, I'm sure you can imagine like what the code looks like for these. There's like a profile, like wrapper cards, and then there's like an avatar and a title, and it's all like compositional, and it all uses flow. It's like the same React technologies that you might be familiar with in 2017. So this is kind of cool, but I said we wanted to use real data. So I could have done this with like fixtures, but like, I don't know, that's like boring. So just gonna go into GraphQL. GraphQL is like a hosted GraphQL service, I guess. It's like Parse or something, but with GraphQL. It's kind of dope. I'm gonna add Guillermo to this database. This is I can't remember what his profile is. Cool. We don't have webhook callbacks right now. That's like really high on my to-do list because it will be really dope. But for now, you have to rerun the plugin, and Guillermo pops up, and that's using GraphQL. It's using a GraphQL like sketch component that I built just because the existing ones were like really bulky. But I mean, using GraphQL, it's like a line of fetch, and you just configure some headers. So it's super simple. And you can use these existing queries. Maybe I'll show you the query. You can use the same queries in your production apps, and it's just like really, really cool. So GraphQL, let's see. Is it this one? Okay, yeah, so it's like a GraphQL query, like standard GraphQL query, I don't know. So I have a GraphQL endpoint that I set up, and I'm querying it, and then I'm just like rendering. It's a React app, you know how this works. Okay, that's GraphQL example. Cool, okay, let's show another example. Airbnb is all over the world. Airbnb is like a super multinational company. We have users in like every part of the world, and it's really important to us that we design for everyone. So a part of that is making sure our app works in every language. It means that if we have a UI, it considers the fact that people might have like crazy long like German or Finnish names that just like break everything. So we have a team of amazing translators that we work with before we ship any designs. But in the design process, to just get people started, because obviously like not everyone on our design team can speak like 400 languages. We have like an Excel spreadsheet where people just paste in some text, and then it like translates it with the Google Translate API. Then they like copy and paste some artboards and copy and paste text, and I don't know, it's a whole bunch of work. It's crazy. So I thought it would be pretty cool if we could do that automatically with code, because we're like engineers and it's within our power to fix. So I'm going to call render again. Okay. Let's make sure this fits in. So I have like a message here. And this is just like a React component that takes in some text and then styles it. It's not very exciting. I can do things like make the font size like gigantic, just so you know that I'm not like lying about it. I don't know. But yeah, super simple, and you can style it like however you might want to style it. What I'm going to do right now, real quick, is try and remember my text expander shortcuts. Cool. Okay. So what I've done now, because I didn't want to type a bunch of stuff, is I take this message and I pass it to the Google Translate API with a bunch of, I'm just going to show you. And it's like in like 6 languages. I think this is like pretty cool. I don't know, what's another language? Italian. And you can see it just like live updates. This is all stuff that I've done in code right now. The goal is to build UIs for this for our designers that wrap these underlying technologies. But my principle as an engineer is that I kind of trust React, and I trust JavaScript, and I trust ES6 and Flow and GraphQL and all of these things. So we're just kind of building these design tools with the APIs that we're familiar with and that we like to use. Okay, I have one last example. There's two things that's going to happen in this example. I'm going to show you how you can super quickly check that your designs work on multiple screen sizes and stuff. And also, I'll show you the other thing afterwards. Let's just get the right example open real quick. Is my mic crazy? Oh. What outfit change? Thank you. Okay, so actually shout out to my friend Devin Abbott, helped me on this demo because I was running out of time. This is an example of a wireframing kind of thing. And I guess you'll see it more as more things appear on the screen. If you can't see it right now, there's a few phone screens. They're empty though, so there's nothing there. You're not missing anything. And I can't remember my text expander shortcuts. Give me a second. The danger of live demos. Which were they? ZD. Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to start building a wireframe of a website. There was that tweet I did a while ago about how all websites look the same, and then Guillermo did the same thing for the Zeit website, that little wireframey thing. This is like this. Okay. So we're just building, I don't know, I can zoom in here, and you can't see anything. Wow, I'm gonna update the colors real quick. Okay, now you can see stuff. Dope. We're just gonna build this wireframey stuff. These are just all React components, and they're all configurable. They all take style, just because I guess it's easier to see high-level concepts and stuff. So we have a media unit, and we have a post like this, boop, and they all pop up on the screen. Okay, this is kind of cool. I think there are a few others actually. CD3, nope. CD4. Okay, that's my puppy Luna, by the way. She's the cutest dog in the entire world. I love her a lot. I wanted to put her on screen so you could see her. Okay, so we've built this interface, and these are React components, right? And we're kind of mapping over them. We have an array of some browser sizes, which is kind of cool because then I can show you this UI, in landscape mode, or did I hit save? Yeah, in landscape mode. Boop. Or I can show it to you on a tablet. Turns out UIs don't really work on phones and tablets at the same time, but it's it's worth seeing. Okay, cool. Was there anything else there? Oh yeah, I can also turn on phone wrappers, which you might not see because of the contrast on the screen, but let's have a look. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, you can kind of see that there. Device border, let me just make this hot pink. Hot pink. I'm gonna make this I don't know, blue. It's gonna look ugly, but you'll be able to see it at least. Okay, so we got that, and that's pretty cool. Now, I was talking about React primitives. Wouldn't it be dope if we could just render the same stuff into the browser? Yes, it would. It would be super dope. This is a site that I just made real quick using Next. Next is really cool, thanks. And it just loops over my components and prints them out, and it shows me the same thing. It can react to Or else I could have like a crazy wide phone or something. I don't know. I don't want a crazy wide phone. I want like a small phone. And yeah, just like to prove that I'm like not, I'm telling the truth right now, I guess. Did you see I just like took off the red. Oops, okay, let's edit it again. What should we do? Let's make it like hot pink or something. These are like the same things happening at the same time. Maybe I can show you Sketch and the browser at the same time. That'd be kind of cool. Okay, so keep like one of your eyes on the browser. Well, okay, keep one of your eyes on my editor and one of your eyes on my browser, and then your third eye I want you to keep on Sketch. It's definitely possible because of like physics and shit. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save. That render's kind of slow. Huh. Oh well. I mean, it worked. We gotta work on performance. Yeah, and just because like this is Zyday, I guess, this is like deployed on now.sh as well. You can't really do much with it, but you know, just to prove it works and stuff. The deployment takes like 2 minutes, so I won't go through it now. Yeah, this is like really dope. If you build your components with primitives, then they work everywhere, and it's just like super fun. See if there's any more slides. Nope, there's no more slides. That's all I have. You should go on GitHub and like start the repo because my fragile ego needs it. And follow me on Twitter and tell me how I'm wrong about everything. Thanks. Are there like any questions, or do we have to get out of here, or I don't know?
I already have Sketchapp.
Yeah.
And I already have React components.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I use those React components to render HTML?
React components to render HTML. Okay, so like the elephant in the room right now, the question was, can you use existing React DOM components in a Sketch file? You can't, because we don't support React DOM like at all, unless you're using React primitives, which wraps React Native Web.
So what's the process?
The process is you're going to have to refactor your entire app to use React primitives. I'm sorry, but it will help you in the long run, I promise. Like React primitives is going to win everything. It's probably possible to do a code mod or something. We've written code mods that transform like React Native to React primitives because it's just like another level of API abstraction. So I'm sure you could also write a code mod that does that, or use like a Webpack loader or something. We're also looking at using styled components for this, or providing like a styled components compatible thing. So that might help transition like web developers to using this. But yeah, right now you can't use React DOM components, sorry. Anyone else? Hey.
So the designers seem to be an issue. They were using Sketch.
Yeah.
So how do they actually transform documents? Do they have to go to React now?
Okay, so
It's unidirectional, it's not binary.
yes, so the question was that one, designers are the problem. Yes, designers are the problem. I'm a designer, I can say that. And two, do designers have to write React now? Kind of. I'm on the design operations team. Like, it's my job to like streamline the design tooling that we have. So currently, I'm just writing these sketch templates, and my team is writing these sketch templates. But the goal is always for us to provide GUIs on top of this for designers that are built with React, because why wouldn't you build things with React? I don't know. And then the kind of render to Sketch canvas with React Sketch. But yeah, the idea is like we can build like UIs in web views inside Sketch with React DOM, and then get events from that and use React Sketch to render to the canvas. So currently, just like designers have to learn to code, but I don't know. Anyone else?
Can you export any existing Sketch elements into the code?
No. The question was, can you export existing Sketch elements into code? You can't. And a big caveat is that this isn't bidirectional. So you can't go from Sketch to React because it's like really, really difficult. The idea, at least in our workflow, is that by the time components hit production, an engineer will have implemented them and put them into our design system anyway. And so the current workflow is that designers have these read-only templates of like symbols that they override. So really for us, the workflow is kind of the same. There was never like bidirectional sync to those read-only templates anyway. And yeah, I don't know, getting like production usable components out of Sketch. If you want to do that, I'd love a contribution, but I'm not touching it. There's one more. SVG support isn't in there right now. It's like probably the highest thing on our to-do list. We wanted to make sure that we communicated that this is a React renderer on the same level as like React Native. And it's for design systems. It's not for like messing around and making like art. Messing around is the wrong word. It's not for like making art with. I love making art. There's even like a cool example here actually. Yeah, I don't have time for it. In the repo, go on the colors example. That's cool art. Anyway, we wanted to position the library as something that you use for building and shipping like large-scale design systems. So we didn't do like shapes. And then we were like, oh, we should totally have done SVGs. So we're going to do that. And the cool thing is, as soon as we do SVG support, you'll be able to use like D3 and stuff and have like live graphs with live data. If you want to contribute that, it would be amazing. I'd love that. Or someone on live stream. Thank you. Cool. Thanks.